All right, folks, another album review here. I just got done listening to the new Deadhead album, Swine Plague. For those of you who aren't familiar with Deadhead, they are a thrash metal band from the Netherlands that has been, pretty regularly putting out material since the early 90s. They did take a break looks like after 2009. I think that was their last release since before this one in the album Depression Tank. But yeah, I didn't need to spend any time listening through it more than once because this album is kick-ass start to finish. This is definitely a must-have if you are a fan of 80s thrash metal, taken to a little bit more extreme, getting more in the realm of death metal at times as far as the heaviness of it. But overall, it's definitely a thrash metal album, and it reminds me, and it'll probably remind the rest of you, why 80s thrash metal was so special in the history of heavy metal and how much influence it had on styles yet to come. So yeah, this it's about, I think the total album time is about 47 minutes, give or take. It is a total of 12 tracks. Yeah, and it's got a great variety. You've got some songs that are just blistering, just shredding from start to finish, just intensity. It doesn't let up. You have slower tracks that are more, more kind of catchy riffs, but still heavy. It doesn't ever really get into like a kind of a groove type of vibe like you might get with some bands. It's all, it's grim thrash metal throughout. No real complaints. Nothing really weak about it that I can really pick out. It's just an album you can put on and just listen to it from beginning to end. Like I said, plenty of variety. If I were to, let's say, give those that have yet to listen to it kind of a comparison of the style and sound, I would say definitely more early Creator, but more polished and not as as frantic, I guess, as the early Creator stuff was. But they're not copying Creator, but and they list Creator as one of the bands that influenced them from the get-go, because their first release was like 91, so obviously Creator had been established themselves beforehand in the German thrash metal scene, and also a little bit of late 80s Slayer. Just kind of a combination of those two bands kind of give a pretty good impression of what you're gonna get. Don't really have too much more to say about it. It's it goes right up there with kind of the review I did of Obituary, where they took kind of a nod to the style that made them who they are, and then added some maybe some more modern sensibilities based on their musical tastes as they've grown as a band. Because comparing this album to an album like Dream Deceiver, which is probably the one that I made, that I'm most familiar with. Dream Deceiver was it was a lot more like the early Creator in a way too, very, kind of frenetic and frantic and schizo in a good way, of course, where this is more polished. It's just more intense, heavy, both in the style and the production, but it doesn't get too kind of crazy with time changes and things like that, where it was, like I said, it was a little more nuts with Dream Deceiver and whatnot. So it's definitely an evolution of their sound from the early days. And like I said, it's another great representation of what 80s thrash metal has to offer, and bringing it into the current era. And will not disappoint if you like thrash metal and you like it a little heavier than maybe even some of the 80s stuff, then you'll definitely dig this album. Vocals are great. Like I said, the variety is always a big or a very big factor when it comes to my enjoyment of an album. If it's just the same speed throughout the entire album, there's no time changes, there's no room to breathe, where you kind of, even if it's still heavy, it's it's mellowed out a little bit as far as the tempo goes. It can be kind of exhausting, and and you don't necessarily want to listen to it on repeat. Take an album like Panzer Division Marduk by Marduk, and it's basically just intense. It's basically pedal to the floor for the entire album. It's just it's intense in a good way. But yeah, this definitely has a lot to offer. And yeah, so like I said, I don't need to really spend too much time talking about it, because you should just get off your ass and grab a copy and blast it and piss off all your neighbors, and enjoy pure old-fashioned thrash metal as it should be. Definitely recommended, 2 thumbs up and all that good stuff. So Deadhead from Kampen, Netherlands. Another Dutch band, that has put out a solid album this year. The other one, of course, being God Dethroned. So looks like the music scene over there is just fine as far as the quality of bands and the material that's getting put out, which is good, because you can always rely on Europe to deliver some amazing heavy metal from all across Europe. They definitely put us to shame for the most part when where our metal scene is concerned. But anyway, yep, the album is Swine Plague. The band is Deadhead. And I'll be back again soon with another album review. I'm not sure what it'll be. I'll be keeping an eye out, but when I find something worth talking about, I'll be back with a new review. Take it easy, folks.